Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and in today's episode we are going to be exploring catasetums, and we're going to try to answer the question on everyone's mind right now during this spring, and that is to water or not to water. So we are actually going to be taking a look at several seedlings that I have picked out to show you guys just as examples, and they're all in various different stages of growth, and we're going to go through each and every one of them, and we're going to try to decide whether we should water them or if we should wait just a little bit longer, because as you guys might know, when you water too early, the roots stop growing. First things first, let's go ahead and explore some quick facts about catasetums. Now, catasetums belong to the Catasetinae family, which also include the genuses such as Marmotes, Cycnoches, and Cloaceas. So all of these particular genuses do go into dormancy. So what does that mean? Well, essentially what that means is that in the wild, these orchids do not receive any sort of rainfall whatsoever. So they have actually evolutionized to go into a dormancy stage. Now, during this dormancy stage, you do not want to water your orchid, because if you do, you will actually risk rotting your pseudobulb and the root system. So, of course, letting them go into dormancy is fairly easy because their leaves turn yellow and eventually they drop off. Now, as soon as the leaves turn yellow and they fall off, you stop watering completely. Now, the tricky part is finding out when to begin watering once they have come out of dormancy, and they usually do this in the early springtime. You will notice that they will begin to sprout a new growth. We're going to start off by taking a look at this seedling, and you will notice that there's a new growth already developing at the base of the pseudobulb, and right above that new growth there appears to be a second one emerging, which is really extraordinary. Now, if I show you a closer glimpse of this pseudobulb, you will be able to notice that right underneath that new growth there is in fact a new root starting to emerge. Now, the roots on this particular new growth are still pretty short, so you don't want to begin watering at this particular moment in time. Now, we are going to be moving along to this seedling here, and this seedling has roots that are longer than the ones that we just looked at. It's definitely more developed. However, the roots are still not at the appropriate length that you want them to be before you begin watering. As you can see here from this side, you can see no roots have begun to sprout. Most of them have begun to sprout on the other side, and they look very healthy, but this plant still has a few more weeks before watering. Now, this guy right here looks absolutely marvelous. This one looks vigorous. It has two new growths. They're already beginning to sprout many roots. You can see the beautiful green root tips coming out of the bottom of the new growths, and they're quite the sight to look at. Now, when you first look at these, you are going to be very tempted to water, and you are going to want to hold off, because if you do start watering too early, you do risk the chance of losing some of those new roots, and those new roots are going to be crucial for them in the growing season. So you're going to have to resist, and you're going to have to test your willpower, but I'm sure all of you guys can do it. Shifting over to our next seedling, here is what we really like to see. Now, you will notice that most of the roots have already penetrated the moss. However, there are still several more that are just beginning to emerge from the bottom of the pseudobulb. So for this particular plant, I would still hold off on watering. I would probably not water it until all of the remaining roots have actually penetrated the moss as well. The next seedling we're going to be taking a look at looks very similar to the one we just finished observing. You will see that some of the roots have penetrated the moss as well, and there are a few more that are still emerging. So likewise with this one, I would still give it a few more weeks. It looks like the roots can benefit from me giving them a little bit more time to develop. You do want to ensure that these roots get to be as healthy and as long as possible, because these new roots are the future of your Catasetinae. And last and not least, here we have the last Catasetinae that we're going to be taking a look at today. And you will definitely notice that the roots have started to swindle around the side of the paw as well as penetrate the moss. The new growth is developing very rapidly and very well. As you can see, it's almost the same height as the previous pseudobulb, which is definitely a very good sign. Of course, you will notice that the root is going and creeping just under the backside of the pot, which means that it's probably the appropriate length. If we look at the bottom of the pot, we will notice that the roots have begun to emerge, as we can see a tiny little root tip peeking right out of the hole. Now, once we take the plant out of its entire pot, you will notice that the roots are pretty long. They're actually adequate, and they are approximately 3 to 8 inches in length right now. So right now, this particular Catasetum can begin its irrigation phase, and during this phase, it is going to grow a lot. Now, during this time, you are going to want to fertilize this guy a lot, and you're going to make sure that you provide it with bright light, good air, and also, did I say it already? Oh yeah, fertilize it like crazy, because it is just gonna take off. And that's going to conclude our video for today, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I also hope that you all gained a little bit of insight regarding when you guys should begin watering your Catasetinae that are just coming out of dormancy. Now, also, if you guys haven't done so already, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I am very active there, and I'm constantly uploading pictures on my orchid journey and also what's currently blooming in my greenhouse. But anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to catch you guys on my next video. So until then, peace.